Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy King James here, and I want to talk to you today about controllers. And if you've ever watched anybody who's really good at Call of Duty or any other first-person shooter play, you see movement speed, and movement is everything. 50% of a pro's game is having insane movement, and the other 50% is game sense and aim. And one thing that I know a lot of people use, myself included, are controllers that have paddles on the back that are programmable. I can program all of these to do all kinds of different things. So I do, reload, jump, slide and slide cancel, and mount on the back of my controller. I also have trigger locks, right? So you can see full, and then I can change this down, and then the trigger becomes like a hair trigger. It's really small. And then on the top, I have one raised thumbstick, and these thumbsticks are removable. I can change them for different types. And it's this customization on the controller which really helps with the gameplay, because I can aim, shoot, and jump all at the same time. And if you have a regular controller like this guy, you can't do that. You can't jump and move and shoot all at the same time. It's practically impossible. There's just not enough fingers on your hand to do that. So I've got some stuff today that's going to help you get a reprogrammable controller without spending $200 on one. And I got it for you right now. So first things first, I want to thank Extreme Rate for sponsoring this video. They provided all the product that you're going to see, and it's going to convert your regular Xbox Series X controller, and it's got to be the Series X controller with a little upload button on it, not the old One X controller. So this one into essentially exactly the same as a Elite Series 2 controller with the thumbsticks, the paddles, and the trigger locks. So what they've provided me is a replacement thumbstick kit, which allows you to change this on your controller and add all the different height thumbsticks you want. And there's 3 different heights within this package. A hairlock trigger kit, and a complete replacement back panel that will include buttons that you can program in order to have all of those back switches just like you saw in the Elite controller. And when it's all said and done, this will become this, for a lot less money than $200 and change it costs to buy an Elite Series 2. So let me show you the steps to do each one. And keep in mind this video has chapters, so you can do any or all of these mods. And if you check the chapters down below or in the pinned comment, it'll show you each one and the timestamp to click on in order to get to that one in order to do it. I will also link down in the description all of the products which help support the channel if you click and buy through those links, and a very detailed video from Extreme Rate themselves on how to do all of these mods step by step. If you really want to see all of the step by step in there, it'll show you absolutely everything. So check the description for all of those links. All right, let's get started. So the first one we're going to do is adding the buttons to the back of the controller. And this is the most difficult of all the mods. And that's because you need to solder these little circuit boards onto the boards inside of your controller. And that's what adds the buttons, because it has to interface with the actual circuit board inside of the controller. So we're going to do this one first. And this step requires soldering. So if you've never soldered before, you might want to consider getting somebody to help you who has soldered before, but none of this is really all that difficult. So if you've never done it before, practice on something else before you try it on your controller first. But this is actually pretty easy, and the full video from Extreme Rate has complete step-by-step. So I'm going to do a quick overview on the steps required, but if you want to see the full thing, check out the video on their site. So I've got the controller completely taken apart, and I've got the first ribbon strip stuck on, and I'm soldering all the points. And the first ribbon strip on the bottom board has 12 different points that you have to solder, and it only takes a small little bead on each one in order to get the connection done. So you're going to put your soldering iron on it, and there's a hole there, and you just touch a tiny little bit of solder into the hole, and it will connect it. And you'll see, because you'll see a little dot that'll form as you're doing it. Once you got that done, you put the second board on that you took off, and there's another ribbon strip that you're going to lay on top with it, and it has 6 more connection points that you have to solder. So here you can see I'm laying it on, and it tells you exactly where to do it in the video, and you'll go and solder on all those points. And make sure that when you're soldering it, as you see right here, just hold it for a second, put a small little bead on it, and you'll get a little dot, and then you know it's good. So I've got everything soldered on, and I've got the test light connected, and it'll tell you if any of your connections are not good. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I actually have one light out TP67, which is the one point right here by my finger here. So I'm going to resolder it and see if I can get that light on. So I got in real close, and I fixed that one soldering joint so that I knew it was good. Okay, so I resoldered that point. Let's plug it in now and see if I got it. And all the lights are on now. So that's good. So we fixed that one spot. Let's move on. So now you're going to grab the two panels from the back and you're going to take the battery connector that's on the old clamshell and you have to take that off so that when you put your batteries in, you know, they'll make connection to the new controller. So you pop that off and you pop it back onto the new controller and make sure it's there. It's a pretty easy step. Now there's one last circuit board and it's got all the buttons and you'll put that in and lay it face down and there's a switch that goes underneath of it and you'll screw that in. And then there's little holders for each button and you'll attach the buttons to the holders and you'll lay them in the spot there so that the buttons go through and you'll screw those in so that they're mounted into the back of the clamshell. As you can see, now the buttons are there and they're clicking. And there was a couple of wires that you had to take off during the disassembly step. So you just grab those wires and you quickly solder them back on in the right order, which they provide you in the video. And finally, you're going to take the clamshell, it's got the buttons in it. You're going to attach the ribbon cable to the ribbon connector where the test light was popped in. And you're going to put the clamshell back on the bottom of the controller and snap it together. So everything's back together for the most part. The back plate is on and it's plugged in and the buttons are connected. So that's basically it for that piece. If this is the only part of the mod that you're doing, just go and put your controller back together the same way you took it apart. But the next step for us is we're going to do the thumbsticks. Okay, so this part's pretty easy. You just put on your new caps that they provided that have the removable top on it for your thumbsticks. You can see here, they go right on here, no problem, as opposed to these ones here, which are solid and short. So we're going to put these guys on. And they're sort of keyed, so they can only go on a couple of different ways. I think they're square. So now I've got my replacement thumbsticks on and they're working good and I can push down on both of them. All right, so for sticks, I'm going to put a tall one on this side because that's my aiming finger. So it gives me more dexterity for aiming like a raised thumbstick. And this one here is just for running. So I'm going to use that one with a short one because that's really how I like to play. It's the same as my Elite Series 2 that I use. And last but not least, we're going to install the two final side arms here and include the trigger locks. The first thing you do is you put this guy in here because that's the little switch and you slide it and there's a post there and then you take one of these guys and it sort of slides in the bottom part. You got to push it down and then slide it in there and then that stabilizes it and then your switch can slide back and forth on that new little rail that it's got in there. And then you just take this, you slap it back on the side and it just pops in and then you can see I got full range of the trigger. And then if I flip the switch, pair triggers. All right, I'm going to install the buttons back on here, and they are labeled. So this is K1. Goes on right here. There we go, K1. There you go. There we go. Put my battery door on. And it should fire right up. Now, for programming mode, go over like that, and yay, it's blue. That's how you know you got it. All right, so I've got it all done, and as you can see, I've got my raised removable thumbsticks, just like my Elite controller. I've got my trigger locks with the button on the side so that I can make them full or I can make them short. And on the back, I've got all of my customizable buttons. So I'm going to turn it on and try and program some of these buttons to do some stuff so that I can try it out. Okay, so I jumped to a game of Plunder and I've got my controller hooked up. And what I want to do is I want to program these buttons now. So I'm going to put it into programming mode, which you can see has a blue light. And the first thing I want to do is I want to set this one to mark. And marking in Call of Duty is pushing up on the D-pad. So I'm going to push these two buttons together and the blue light should flash. Oh, hang on, let me do it again. There, now it's flashed. Now if I go out of programming mode, there, now when I go up on the wall, if I push this button, there it is, so I can mark. So instead of having to push up on the D-pad, now, and doing a mode, now I can mark by using that button. So now this one here, I want to be able to use it for going up and down. So I'm going to go back into programming mode. I'm going to hold B and this button at the same time, and I want to be able to see if I can see it with you. I think I have to push the button first and then this one. Yeah, there we go. See how it flashed? And now, if I come out of programming mode, there, see that? And that's what lets me go prone, or when I'm moving, lets me slide. And so now I want to program this one here to be the A button for jumping. So I'm going to press and hold these buttons together. There you go, see it flash blue? And now when I come out of programming mode, there, see? Now I can jump. So I can jump around a corner, which is a real good move. You come out and you can jump and then shoot. Alright, so I can run up, jump, and shoot around a corner. And last but not least, this top one here, I want to be able to set it for using melee. So I like to melee like that. I want to use this button for that. So I'm going to go back into programming mode. I'm going to hold down on the thumbstick and this button together. So go thumbstick and hold it down, and oh, it didn't work because I'm moving too. There we go. Got it that time. Now if I go out of programming mode, boom, I got my melee. Or when you're ADSing and you're close to a wall, it'll do your mounting for you. So now, when I'm running around, as you can see, I can jump around a corner. I can use these for slide cancel, right? So, boom, and I can mark, or do emotes, jump, right? So one thing I really like is you come around a corner and boom, you can jump and shoot, right? So I never have to take my fingers off of the keypads or buttons ever. And this is a really great move when you want to get somebody and you want to be hard to hit. You jump around a corner and you can shoot. Right? You come into a building, boom, you can come around a corner and shoot. It's really handy, and when I'm playing, I never have to use my buttons on here anymore at all. So what did all this cost? Well, the buttons on the bottom, they're $40. The trigger lock kit is $15, and the thumbstick kit is $15. And down in the description down below, there's links to all of these products on Amazon that you can order and get next day. And if you order from the description down below, it actually helps support me and the channel. So if you want to mod your controller and you want to buy some of these things, use the links down there. It really goes a long way to help supporting me. Their website also has lots of other stuff on Amazon that you can do to alter your controller. There's clamshells, you do different colors. They can make all your buttons colors and all kinds of different stuff. If you have a worn out controller like an Elite and it's broken, they say clamshells for the Elite controller. Absolutely everything. So if you're looking for any way to repair or modify your controller, Extreme Rate on Amazon has an absolute ton of stuff that you can do to both PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox controllers. So if you play on PC or any type of console, it's all there that you can do and do all the mods you want. So what's the final verdict? Well, I've been using Elite and SCUF controllers for a long time. I think it's a real advantage having the buttons on the back of the controller that you can push, so you don't have to use your thumb. You can keep them on the movement and aiming sticks. When you do that, you can do multiple things at once that you can't otherwise do, or you have to like take your thumb off and do it really quick. I know it's possible, but let's be honest, it's a lot easier with one of those controllers. And it makes slide canceling, jumping, and all the things that we do in Call of Duty for movement a whole lot easier. Now, the quality of the regular controllers isn't as good as the Elite controller, but the Elite controller is almost triple the amount of money. So to have a controller you've already paid for and do all of these mods or some of these mods for really cheap compared to buying a SCUF or an Elite controller is a huge advantage. So if you don't want to spend the full amount of money on, a complete replacement controller, these mods were fairly easy to perform. It took me about an hour in total to do them all. And now I have a controller that is every bit as good as those controllers in terms of the functionality that they provide. You got hair triggers, you've got replacement thumbsticks for height, and you've got the 4 buttons on the back. So it's definitely a really awesome option. So if this is something that you're interested in and you've modded controllers before, it's definitely something you want to check out. So check out the links below to purchase any of the items. And of course, they go a long way to help supporting the channel. So hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below because I can talk to you about my experience modding my own controller. And as always, guys, if you don't see me in Warzone, if you don't see me in multiplayer, it's only a matter of time, baby. King James out.